Can you check again? How much is the charge?
Sir, the accommodation fee is $35,000.
This is a ripoff. This hotel is scamming us.
My husband and mother-in-law were astonished by the excessive bill, and they shrank back in shock. Seeing them like that, I couldn't help but laugh. This was the ultimate ending I had hoped for. But don't think this is the end. There's even more hell waiting for you too. My name is Nadia Williams, 35 years old. I work in fashion. I usually make handmade clothes and sell them for profit. I started this job 7 years ago when I married my husband Sean. I was drawn to him immediately as he gently led me, a shy person. When we got married, he had one request.
Nadia, will you become a stay-at-home wife after we get married?
A stay-at-home wife? But isn't it better to both work until we have kids?
My mom was never good at housekeeping, and I always dreamed of homemade meals and a constant clean house. I want you to stay home, especially for our future kids.
But I can't just not to do anything.
As long as you're at home, you can do whatever you like.
I can?
Yeah, as long as it's something you can do from home.
After some discussion, I decided to become a stay-at-home wife with the condition of working from home. I loved sewing, so I started my own brand. It was just a small venture, selling my creations on a flea market app. Years later, it gained popularity, and I started getting direct orders through my website. Both my work and my marriage were going well. Life was fulfilling. Then suddenly, something happened that completely changed my everyday life. One day, my husband Sean came home from work and said,
Nadia, we're going to live with my mom at her place starting next month.
I was so surprised that I stopped cooking. Live together? Where did that come from?
My dad passed away 2 months ago, and now mom is all alone in that house. She must be feeling lonely there.
But this is so sudden.
You always said you wanted to get along with my mom. It's a good opportunity.
I guess, but I lost my parents when I was young and never had the chance to be filial. So I always wanted to do what I could for my husband's parents, but I never expected it would be living together. Since Sean made it sound like a done deal, I couldn't refuse, and we moved in with his mother the following month. At first, my mother-in-law Lucy was welcoming and treated me normally, but after a week of living together, her attitude changed dramatically. I was sewing a dress when she barged into my room without knocking and scowled at me. Hey Nadia, what on earth are you doing locked up in your room? Oh Lucy, sorry. I'm working right now. I tried to explain, showing her the half-finished dress, but she looked disgusted. Work? What nonsense are you talking about? That's just your hobby. This is part of my job, not just a hobby. Don't talk back to me. If you have time for such play, why not do some cleaning? Yes, sorry. I will be more careful in the future. I make clothes and sell them online, using the profits to invest in other projects. It's not a hobby. I'm serious about it. But no matter how many times I explain, she won't listen. She insists it's not a real job. Her initial kindness disappeared, and her mistreatment became harsher. She seems to dislike me, staying in my room during the day. She started assigning me petty chores, disrupting my work pace, and making it hard for me to create freely. A month after her mistreatment began, it was affecting my work, so I decided to talk to Sean. Sean, I need to talk to you about your mom.
What about mom?
Well, whenever I work, she scolds me to do housework. I can't get any work done lately. He sighed heavily and replied reluctantly.
Isn't that because you're not taking care of the housework like you're supposed to?
What?
You prioritize your own stuff without even managing the basic housework. That's why Mom is just reminding you.
That's not true. I always finish the housework before I start working.
Your work doesn't make much money, so just give it up already. Please don't upset Mom. It's a hassle. I'm going to take a bath.
With that, he left the room. Tears started to flow from the frustration. I was truly shocked that even my husband didn't understand me. He probably told Lucy about this, because her attitude towards me became harsher the next day. You are a stay-at-home wife and still want to spend time on your hobby? Stop being so spoiled. But Lucy, this is a real job for me. Job? A job means going out and working like Sean. You're not earning, so it's only right that you do housework non-stop. Lucy, please listen. These are valid from work nowadays. You might think it's just an extension of a hobby, but I'm really committed to it. Shutting yourself in your room making silly handmade items is work? Ridiculous. Save some nonsense for your dreams. Her mistreatment got worse, and without Sean's support, I could only work freely at night, and I had to fight against time every day to avoid delays. Before I knew it, I was completely exhausted, both mentally and physically. Influenced by Lucy, Sean too began to treat me coldly.
Why are you so inefficient? You're always getting scolded by Mom.
I'm sorry, but I always do what she asks.
Shut up. If you were doing it right, Mom wouldn't be mad every day. Open your eyes, you useless wife.
How can you say that? Fighting back only made things worse. Understanding this, I gradually spoke less and less, and my motivation plummeted. Then one day, a travel brochure arrived at our house. Even though it was addressed to me, Sean and Lucy excitedly opened it.
Hey Mom, look at this. A 3-night stay at a luxury hotel, exclusively for our tour. Unlimited gourmet food. How cool is that?
First class flight too. Amazing. And it's only $900 per person. What a deal.
Right? It's awesome. Normally, this trip would cost $35,000.
What are the conditions?
The conditions are, Mom, check this out.
Let me see. I see. They turned to me with beaming smiles and said,
Nadia, let's go on a trip together.
Yes, Nadia. You're going to New York with us. How does that sound? I was momentarily baffled. A family trip? With me? After they always treated me like a nuisance. Why? While I was still confused, they continued.
We've been giving you a hard time with all the housework. A little break for a trip would be nice, right?
Yes, let's spend some quality family time together for once. Right, Nadia? Are you sure? Both of them smiled broadly and said in union, Of course. It had been a long time since they had spoken to me so kindly, and I felt the warmth in my heart. I thought I was finally accepted as part of the family. I decided to put the past behind me and enjoy this trip. In the days leading up to the trip, the mistreatment from them stopped, and we even had lively conversations about our upcoming vacation. Thanks to that, I was able to spend my days in peace. By the way, the organizer of this trip was a handmade federation I belonged to. Business was booming, and profits were rising. That's why they could offer such a luxury trip at an exceptional price. I had never participated before. But seeing my enthusiastic husband and mother-in-law, I also started looking forward to it. On the day of the trip, the three of us arrived at the airport, where the tour operator confirmed our number. Right after the confirmation, my husband and mother-in-law glared at me.
Hey Nadia, you can go back home now.
Yes, thank you for coming here. What? Go back home? But the trip is just starting.
Didn't you hear? You're not part of our family.
Right. Don't dawdle and go home. We are about to enjoy a luxury tour. But the conditions for this tour were...
We've just confirmed the number of people, so it's fine. Go home already.
Such a presumptuous daughter-in-law. That's why I can't stand you. Stunned, I stood there as he coldly said,
Even if you're not there, don't slack off on the housework. Make sure you clean the house too. Got it?
Suddenly being treated so harshly, it clicked. The trip required 3 participants. I was just used to meet the requirement. A wave of sadness and frustration swept through me. I had put everything behind me and looked forward to enjoying this trip with the family. And it was all a lie. I didn't care about them anymore. I was determined to take back my life. I contacted the hotel through the Federation and explained the situation, asking them to charge my husband and mother-in-law the regular fee. Meanwhile, I rebooked the same hotel, inviting friends to meet the 3-person requirement, and got the Federation's discounted rate. On the 4th day, the last day of their trip, I finally went to the hotel. As expected, I saw my confused husband and mother-in-law at the reception. Sean, with a contorted face, kept asking the receptionist,
Can you check again? How much is the charge? Yes, sir. The accommodation fee is $35,000. No way! You're lying, right? We'll be instructed to charge the regular price. After all, Miss Nadia Williams, who is a member here, is not present, correct? But still, $35,000 is ridiculous. That's unbelievable.
His face turned pale as he ranted in a distressed voice.
This is a ripoff. This hotel is scamming us.
Exactly. $35,000 is absurd.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but...
I quickly stepped in before the receptionist could be troubled further. I apologized for the trouble caused by my family.
Miss Williams, welcome to our hotel.
The receptionist seems to remember me from my only visit. Such is the service of a luxury hotel. Seeing me, Sean's eyes widened.
Nadia, why are you here?
Why? I'm just staying here for 2 nights and 3 days. Is there a problem?
This hotel overcharges for stays. You've been here. You should know.
Ripoff? What are you talking about? Didn't you just hear the regular rate?
Regular rate? Even if we splurge, $35,000 is impossible.
A luxury hotel exclusively for your tour. Top-tier rooms, meals made with the finest ingredients, helicopter sightseeing flights at night, limousine for transportation, cruises during the day. After enjoying all that, you can't complain about being overcharged, can you?
But...
Well, if I, a member, had been there, this wouldn't have happened. Sean exclaimed in agony.
What's that supposed to mean?
Lucy, having overheard, turned red and confronted me. Hey, Nadia! What do you mean by that? Explain yourself! The trip was organized by the federation I'm part of. If I, a member, had participated, you wouldn't have been charged such a high fee. Understand? What? You should have said that earlier. And you bring this up now? What a useless, whiny daughter-in-law. She approached me. yelling fiercely. Just sort this out with these people. We can't pay $35,000. Why should I? It's obvious. This happened because you weren't here. It's a major family crisis, so help us out. At this point, I was utterly astounded by the convenience of their words. What are you talking about? At the airport, you yelled at me saying, "Go back home now." I was just used for the head count. Well, what do you want to do? Shall we continue arguing here? Fine, I apologize. Just do something about it quickly, please. She pleaded desperately, to which I responded coldly. No. What do you mean, no? Why should I help you? After all the mistreatment, now you want my help just because things turned bad for you? Isn't that a bit too convenient? Hey, just calm down. We are really in trouble right now. Like I give a shit about your problems. My sudden change in tone took them by surprise, making them shudder. Being forced to return from the airport like that was the most humiliating experience in my 30 years of life. And of course, it's all because of you and your son. That's why I'm apologizing. Please just forgive us. An apology won't cut it. I don't want compensation from you. Who would help you now? As of today, I'm cutting all ties with this so-called family. Enjoy your descent into hell together. After saying that, I checked in as if nothing had happened. I could feel their resentful gaze as I left them behind and headed to my room in the luxury hotel. Later, I heard they continued to cause a scene, saying they couldn't pay, and eventually, it even involved the police. It was obvious that pair couldn't afford $35,000. In the end, they maxed out their credit cards to the limit. Afterward, I hired a lawyer to divorce and moved out of my in-laws' house, renting a new place for myself. My husband reportedly started a part-time job in traffic control as a second job. Lucy, who had been a housewife, was forced to take a part-time job and is now struggling with the harsh realities of life. They will likely be living a tight budget for a while. Well, it's all their own doing. They should suffer for enjoying themselves at that luxury hotel. I keep receiving desperate texts from my ex-husband.
I was wrong. I've reflected on my behavior, and I want to start over. Let's go on a trip, just the two of us, without my mom. How about Tahiti? You're reading this, right? Come back to me, Nadia.
I found it annoying, so I blocked all his contacts. Meanwhile, I resumed work in my new home after a 3-day vacation with my friends. Being able to work in a peaceful environment without anyone complaining feels truly wonderful. Thankfully, the popularity of my clothes keeps increasing. I plan to continue pouring my heart into making clothes that bring joy to many people.